All right, going back to the top story, Prime Minister Modi's address to the upper house of the country's parliament this afternoon. Mr. Shekhar Iyer joins us from New Delhi. Mr. Iyer is a veteran journalist. Mr. Iyer, welcome to DD India News Hour. What did you make of the Prime Minister's address? What stood out for you in his speech?
Thank you, Rajesh. The Prime Minister's address exuded the confidence that the country is witnessing today across all sectors. And as you mentioned, it was about the development agenda that this government has pursued for the last 10 years. And the confidence that the Prime Minister speaks about in the country is also the confidence that his government feels that the people would renew their mandate and they have full faith in his leadership because of certain deliverables that have happened in the past few years. A lot of things have changed. There are a lot of things to change. And the Prime Minister's mantra of, transform and also perform. The reform, reform, perform
and transform.
Yes, and the mantra has been applied in several areas, and one has already beginning to see results. The worst phase for this government was the COVID challenge, the way it was overcome, and along with that, the slowdown in the economy, which was previously witnessed, and the way that things are picking up now. And that has given people the confidence that they can face the future with a lot more hopes. That is why the Prime Minister pointed out the areas where these changes have occurred, what kind of these changes are, and why would people trust his leadership and his government to continue forward with this development progress.
Do you think he succeeded in laying out a very clear vision for the country ahead of the 2024 election?
Rajesh ji, if you take the speech today in the upper house of parliament, and as well as in the lower house of parliament or the Lok Sabha the previous day, one can see that it is very clear that the Prime Minister is looking at the future of this country in terms of the challenges ahead, particularly in the run-up to a period we have what is called as Amrit Kaal, the period that will see by 2047, India would complete 100 years as an independent country. By then, what are the challenges that we'll have to overcome? One is complete removal of poverty, providing the basic amenities to all, which should be completed in the next 5 years. And then speeded infrastructure development for the sake of growth, for the sake of job creation, and also enabling the youth of this country. That's why the Prime Minister kept talking about the 4 pillars of the society. And those 4 pillars are, as he mentioned, our youth, our women folk, our farmers, whom he calls them Annadata, and the poor people. The poor people are themselves not seen in terms of economic condition, but in terms of potential for this country. If they can overcome whatever is inhibiting them, then one can see a tremendous change in this country. And that change is possible because of the confidence. That change is possible because of the positive attitude towards the things that have to be done in this country. That is why the Prime Minister pointed out, look, the opposition today in all its forms is unable to grasp what is needed in this country, because we have only been seeing criticism, negative approach, which are not clicking with the people. People no longer trust the opposition to do what they think should be done. That is the reason why they prefer Prime Minister Modi and his leadership. They have seen in the last 10 years that certain things are possible. If you take up anything, whether it is, Ayushman Bharat, take for instance the health insurance scheme, or the digitization of India, which itself has thrown up several possibilities. And every sector has seen some change or the other, whether it is doing away with obsolete laws, or whether it is bringing a new system, or whether it is encouraging people to do startups, or right now the interim budget itself saw a proposal of 1 lakh crore being set aside for any person taking up innovation as a goal, innovation of anything, new technologies. So you can see that the Prime Minister vision is actually 360 degrees. Several areas that need to be focused on, steps to be taken, people to be encouraged. Because what is needed today is the government has to act as a facilitator. And that is the direction which this country is moving. Government is no more a regulator, rather a facilitator. So these are the aspects that has brought confidence in this government, that has brought confidence in our economy, and it has brought confidence among the people in their own potential and their skills and their ability to overcome the challenges ahead.
Mr. Iyer, the Prime Minister said that Modi 3.0 will infuse all its power to realize the dream of a developed India. Now, a few days ago, he told the Lok Sabha that the country should expect big decisions from his third term in office. Could you walk our viewers through what a Modi 3.0 might look like? Will it be different or similar to his previous 2 terms?
Rajeshji, the Prime Minister, when he mentioned this Modi 3.0, he also recalled the challenges his government had to face in the first term in office, which he called filling up the potholes. Matlab, gadde barne ka kaam. He himself had confessed several times. He think that there were certain problems so deep that needed immediate attention. That is how the first phase went about, filling up those gaps that had been long pending. The second phase was doing things that had to be done. So it saw some structural changes, it saw some structural reforms, and also things that were standing in the way of full integration of the country, like for instance Article 370. Now the third phase is really a stage when the foundation has been laid. Now you start building up. Now you build up not just the resources, you build up capacities. Also, and with the capacities, you also build up the people's capabilities. That will decide the future of this country. The Prime Minister talked of laying the foundation for the next 1,000 years in terms of scale, in terms of speed, in terms of durability, because we are going to see India emerging as a very, very important player, because India has been talked about as a soft power. But the way things are happening around the globe, India will not just be a soft power. India will be more than that. India will be a strategic balancer, as you see the kind of challenges that are cropping up, across different regions. And for all that to happen, our people will have to live in an era of prosperity.
Indeed.
Our people will have to live in a period of creating wealth.
And finally, Mr. Iyer, the Prime Minister was unsparing in his criticism of the Congress party. He said that the Congress has always been against reservation. How do you view these political punches?
Rajeshji, Prime Minister's reference to that letter Jawaharlal Nehru wrote to the Chief Ministers in 1961 had a context, because Rahul Gandhi has been going around the country saying that, OBCs were neglected. That is why you don't see any top officers of the secretarial rank, and he has been blaming this government for that. So what the Prime Minister was saying was, look, you can go around saying all this, but the fact is Mandal Commission came only in the 90s. Since then only all this quota and promotion came. To pick up something without looking at the basis for making that allegation, you have been saying. But so Prime Minister said, look, right from beginning, there was the reservation was not looked at a kind of a final solution or a permanent solution. That is what Nehru reflected in his letter, because the Nehru said, look, it should rather, there should be affirmative action, but the focus should be on economic deprivation. Rather, the economic criteria should be the basis. This is the argument that has been made frequently. But what the Prime Minister was saying, that the fact that social backwardness was also a result of, was complement to the economic backwardness, and had these affirmative measures, including a quota for other backward classes, had it been started much earlier, like it was done for scheduled caste and scheduled tribes, things could have moved much forward. All those sections could have benefited over the years. Instead of that, Rahul Gandhi and the Congress party has been making a big deal about having a caste census and then talking about how OBCs have been neglected. But the fact is, affirmative action has happened over the years.
Indeed.
And this government has done more than any of the previous government, as far as OBCs are concerned.
All right, we'll leave it at that. Thank you so much, Mr. Iyer, for joining us and sharing your thoughts and insights with our viewers at home and abroad. Thank you for your time. Appreciate it.